So hello, I'm going to be discussing how to conduct a flipped learning type of pedagogy in an online class. And so first of all, I'm going to share my screen and show some documents that I've created. First of all, I'll share the flipped learning document that I created and give pointers, and then I'll discuss a little bit of collaborative instructional pedagogy, and then I'll show some tools that you can use to do this. So flipped learning is guide on the side teaching. It's essentially changing the direct instruction homework to the homework section of the course and putting the guided practice in the active class part of the course. So flipped instruction uses a lot of videos, recorded instructional videos as viewing homework. So instead of the sage on the stage type of direct instruction during class, you're doing the guide on the side or the guided instruction as part of the real-time class experience. And that could also be for asynchronous courses. If you assign a video for the students to watch, and then the guided practice part of the course would be an online forum in which students answer questions, post responses, provide substantive response to a general question. That in an asynchronous format can be the guided instruction part. You can also have collaborative team activities in which students work as a team asynchronously on a common document. And that could be the guided with the instructor popping in and providing feedback. Can also be the guided part of this. But flipped learning uses social learning strategies, which tend to work well in online courses. And you can use team-based and small group learning, allow students to research and present a chapter of course content, and allow them to teach other students during the class, which might be done during a Zoom session. You can stage a panel discussion or a symposium on a specific topic as a great way to provide real-world interactions, practice that. And you can have a variety of collaborative projects in which students work to refine and improve a document, such as in Google Docs, in which you can have many people working on a document. This helps students to be less passive receptors and more active directors of their own learning experiences. During the first semester, the instructor does have to do more work. They have to create and design documents, include instructions at the time and place that the students are going to need those instructions the most in their course. So you might have a reiteration of instructions 2 modules down in the Canvas platform. Some of the tools you can use for flipped learning are video hosting services such as YouTube, or we use Canvas Nomia, TechSmith Nomia, which is a video hosting service that allows you to do screencasts as well as video recordings of your teaching. And then you can integrate those videos into your Canvas platform. Zoom breakout rooms also help with team-based learning. Canvas discussions and Canvas collaborations. Canvas collaborations is a kind of tool that's very similar to the Google Documents. Students can research and teach a chapter of a course using Nomia Conversations, which is a forum along a timeline of a video in which you can post comments along the timeline and respond to comments. So that's actually a very good interactive tool that can help with presentations, basically discussions on presentations. A panel discussion could use Zoom screen share and Canvas discussions, or VoiceThread, which is a very good, very interactive forum, a discussion forum. And you can also have video lectures as homework can be automatically graded by Canvas. So if you set Canvas to make a video and a homework assignment, it will tell you how much of the video the student has watched. It will tell you if the student answered any questions, quiz questions you put along the timeline correctly or not. So it will automatically grade for you. So these tools make flipped instruction easier. Quizzes can be added to not just Nomia videos, but you can also create quizzes in Canvas and have independent quizzes in Canvas. So now I'm going to go to collaborative instruction techniques. Now that we know that the format of flipped learning is essentially flipping the traditional lecture type format. Group work and online collaboration is not difficult. It just requires that you understand a few concepts and work with those to encourage the students to participate. Collaboration helps the students direct their own learning. They use a constructivist type of approach in which they bounce ideas off of each other and they learn from each other as well as the instructor. They learn application in ways that they wouldn't have necessarily from the instructor, because they can discuss with their fellow classmates what their experience has been with this concept, especially classmates that are working. If some of your classmates have applied some of the things they've learned through the semester in their work environment, they can come back into the discussion boards and say, well, I used this technique and it worked great with this group of people. And then another person can have the same response with their group of people. So your collaborative experience is can be richer than just a direct lecture instruction. Collaboration, you might find resistance from the students because they're not used to collaborative approaches, especially younger students. So one thing you can do is when conducting a group work activity, you want to provide an explanation of the importance and reasons for including this collaborative activity in the online class. You would talk about learning outcomes. This can reduce resistance and increase success in the activity, because the students then can say, oh, well, this is going to benefit me because the learning outcome is this, and this activity will teach me how to achieve that learning outcome. One nice thing about collaborative instruction is that you can do scenarios, you can do applied activities in which the student can see the learning concept in an applied environment, and this can be very useful to them in their daily life. Another way to reduce resistance is to make dyads, or groups of two, because students will feel less like they have to do all the work for a large group of people if they're only in a pair. They can hold their other partner more accountable. It's easier to communicate with one person than four. And then you can gradually shift to larger groups as your class learns the skills of working in a group. So early in the semester, you might have a dyad activity, and then halfway through the semester, you might have a group of three. And then towards the end, you might have a group of four. Now, the community building in a group, in a collaborative experience, is also important. The role of the instructor in working with group work activity is to set the stage. You explain the importance and set clear guidelines for the completion of the activity, rules. Then you want to create the environment, like setting the rules of engagement, and how do you conduct yourself in a group work activity? How will you communicate with each other? What will happen if there are conflicts? Who will you go to first? Those kinds of rules. You want to model the process as well. The instructor wants to show good collaborative behavior, and one way is to allow students to negotiate some of the parameters with which they will work with one another. So you can actually have the group come up with a charter, and it can be a short charter, one paragraph long, saying this is how our group is going to work with each other if we come up with a problem. This gives them more autonomy. The instructor needs to guide the process by letting the students know in advance how the instructor intends to be involved in the process. This gives students a sense of confidence needed to move forward because they know what to expect. So not only are the people in the group going to tell the instructor how they're going to resolve conflict, the instructor is going to tell them how that instructor expects them to communicate with the instructor, or how that instructor expects them to provide outcomes such as products by certain dates. It might be a 3-stage product process, so you can have an outline, a first draft, and then a final draft. Then the instructor needs to evaluate the process by giving students the opportunity to debrief the experience. That means afterwards, the instructor should have a question on the forum saying, what was your experience? How could it be improved? What did you think was the most beneficial part of this experience? What was the worst part of this experience? And hello, George. We are recording our training right now, so I'm glad you could join us.
I'm sorry, I'm late.
Yes, so we are discussing collaborative instruction. We're at the evaluate the process section of the required expectation of the professor. The professor is expected to give students the opportunity to evaluate their experience in a collaborative environment. This allows the students to learn from the conditions that make a successful discussion. At the end of the activity, the instructor also needs to include a student self-assessment part of the project in which the student can assess themselves as well as their classmates, their teammates. And this can be a simple document in which you send a table that says, please evaluate, teammate 1, teammate 2, teammate 3 on these 3 criteria. And so some of the collaborative activities benefit from teams creating a team charter that includes the purpose of the group, the deliverables, and the operating guidelines. And then teams can come up with a decision-making strategy to reduce conflict. The instructor needs to clarify and define the group roles to reduce conflict. This really helps. Now, with team development, because whenever you work in a team, they go through some stages and they learn by the end of the experience, having gone through all the stages, they've unified, but it takes some time. So the instructor knowing these stages helps as they are basically guiding the process. The development stages are the normative stage in which group members get to know each other. You need a little get to know you activity where maybe it's a forum, introduce yourself kind of forum. A unity stage or problem solving stage is when the groups come together to actually do the work. So that would be, of course, structured in the activity, the first part of it, when they're actually brainstorming and coming up with a deliverable. The unity stage or the conflict stage, of course, happens in every group. And that's when disagreement must be worked through to avoid groupthink mentality in which everyone agrees to something just to avoid conflict. And that does not produce good products. The groupthink mentality does cause lower quality results, and the members tend to be dissatisfied. So don't be afraid of the conflict stage. If done right, they can get over that part very quickly without a lot of drama. The action phase is when all of the groups, or when the group comes into harmony and is most productive. And then the termination phase is when the group ends its work. Time must be given for groups to work through these phases. And one of the most difficult parts for an instructor is not giving them enough time to work through these phases. You need to build a little time into your semester for them to be able to work through these phases. And the worst thing you might get is a few emails from one of the groups saying so-and-so's not pulling their weight. How do we resolve this? So the conflict stage doesn't have to be a very difficult process. It's just something that a group does go through. And the answer to that problem is, what was in the team charter? What are the instructors' expectations of how they were going to resolve this conflict, who they were going to go to? This, if you have a team charter or if you have clear instructions, you can easily deal with the conflict stage. Now, assessment. Assessment of collaborative work should include rubrics. The activities and assessment must align with the learning objectives. And so, because this reduces student dissatisfaction by providing evaluative material that is objective and quantifiable. You want to ask students to give feedback to their peers. The instructor should make, or when you do this, the instructor should make it clear that it must be constructive and encourage improvement. Rubrics with guidelines on how to provide peer feedback can be very helpful to students. Information about assessment and evaluation should be built into the course guidelines and communicated to the students at the beginning of the course. It allows them to prepare for their responsibilities through the project and at the end when they're providing constructive feedback to their peers. So give them ahead of time, tell them you're going to be providing some feedback at the end of this project to your peers, so be aware of this. So assessment can run smoothly if you have rubrics in place. Again, type of activities can provide, can include role playing, in which students play different roles in an ethical dilemma situation, simulations in which students directly apply computer coding skills, or case studies. So case studies can, in which the instructor provides cases from the professional field, or the students can bring cases from their work if you have working students. So collaboration has, once built properly, can run smoothly. It just takes time to construct a good collaborative environment. Now, one of the tools that you can use in collaboration, of course, is the Zoom breakout room, which is a synchronous tool. Let's see, which one is this? Zoom breakout rooms. Okay, so Zoom breakout rooms are very easy to get, basically to initiate when you're in a Zoom meeting. The Zoom Help Center has visual step-by-steps that show you when you're in your Zoom meeting. Frequently there's an options button at the bottom and it will ask you how you want the breakout room to be constructed. How long do you want the breakout room to be? How long do you want the countdown to be? Because there's a countdown that tells the students, all right, get ready because we're about to join the main meeting. You can assign people who are in your Zoom meeting to a specific breakout room in the Zoom tools. And as you can see there, it shows you what it's going to look like when the system is processing the breakout room. And you can join the breakout room as the instructor at any time to pop in and pop out to see that the rooms are working cooperatively. And then you can close all rooms. So you can see that you can also send messages before you close the rooms to give them a warning. And the Zoom Help Center has these instructions if you need to view them again. Another tool to help with collaborative online teaching includes Canvas collaborations. If you're using the Canvas platform, this is very similar to Google Documents. Canvas, and I'm going to here it is. Okay. So this is a collaboration. You can see that if it's been enabled, you can have collaborations in the navigation menu in your Canvas course. And I've created a collaboration. In order to create a collaboration, you would go up to the yellow button to start one. But since I've already created one, I'm going to go into it and show you what it looks like. This would be an asynchronous tool in which you would have students working on a document together. on their time. You know, they just have to have it done by a certain date, and students can pop in and add. As you can see, you can share a document with many people. I'm the only one in this document, but I can add people to it. And it's just a regular Word document that you would add feedback to or add to. And it works just like any other document. So you can add comments, you can add edit, you can do editing, just standard things that you would find in a document. Because it's integrated with Google, this is actually Google Docs. This is an integration. You can actually create a spreadsheet. You can create other kinds of documents that you would in Google Docs. Google Slides, I think, is another one. So Canvas and many other platforms has various integrations that allow different kinds of collaboration, asynchronous collaboration. There's the classic discussions, which I encourage, because in discussions, you can have video and audio posts in a lot of these platforms, these class platforms. I can show you the instructor can provide video posts in the stimulus post, and students can respond with images and videos and audio statements to enrich the discussion process, And these actually are videos that were submitted via the mobile app. So if I clicked on this, it's an MP4, you can see it would be a video that I would watch. Even though it looks like a text response, it's not, it's an actual video. So the methods for collaboration are many and varied, synchronous, asynchronous. And the methods of providing direct instruction in a flipped classroom can be just as varied, actually. You can provide a video, or you could have a PowerPoint that you want them to go through. You could provide a document for them to read, as long as the direct instruction is done as homework, as independent practice, and the guided practice is done when the group is meeting or when the group is expected to work in the class in an asynchronous environment. That would be the activities that they're doing in class for a product that they're going to be graded on. So that sums it up. I want to encourage you to go to the College of St. Rose Online Learning Services YouTube channel, where you can get more videos, or you can go to Tech Talk. Tech Talk is a great blog. Let's see. And I'm going to show you how to get there. There's a Tech Talk. I think it's this one. Whoops. I'm going to try that again. Tech Talk, there it is. The Tech Talk blog is searchable. And right here, you can find topics of a variety of different things. Managing, I think I have topics like managing online instructor workload. You just click on it. This is viewable for anybody. This is a public blog. And you can search for topics right here. Thanks for watching.